You might have just seen us sitting looking stupid for the last couple of seconds, but hello and welcome to Down the Slope. We've got a full house tonight. I'm Harry. We're just after the derby. We're feeling up, down, all around. We got Ewan, Craig, and Liam. Ewan, come to you first. How are we feeling, mate?
Oh, not too bad, buddy. Not too bad. I don't know where does annoying draws fit in on your scale? How are you doing?
Yeah, no, I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm not devastated, but I'm not ecstatic. I was ready to pound sand yesterday at full time, and definitely after they'd scored. But we'll come on to that a bit later. Craig, how are we getting on?
Ah, not bad, mate. A bit like you. I've kind of simmered down and settled a wee bit after yesterday. I was quite frustrated at the full time whistle, but I've settled on it a wee bit.
Nice. Just to say, Craig was slightly closer to me yesterday in terms of throwing the toys at the pram. But someone who had the toys well in the pram, Liam, how are we getting on?
Toys well in the pram. Is that my sort of my brand these days? Just to keep the toys in the pram. My toys are in the pram. To be honest, I was over it quite quickly yesterday. Did quite enjoy a wee bit of a day out yesterday. Result and ultimately the outcome not what we would have all hoped for, but wasn't awful.
Hey.
I did enjoy when you were communicating where you were after, like in the bar after the game, and I was like, "Nah, fuck this! I'm going back to the car."
I had the pleasure of bumping into G on the way to the car, and let's just say G was not best pleased with Hibernian Football Club yesterday. But the way I've kind of broke this one down today, gents, is we'll break down the game itself, the players, David Gray, and then kind of preview what's coming up, just because that's what our lovely people on YouTube and on Twitter sent us questions in first. So starting up, you and kick us off. Team lineup. I know it was the kind of talk of the town as soon as we met behind the goals, and it was a bit of a surprise, in my opinion, in a good way.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. It was probably, I think we would probably all agree, the best team that we could have probably put out with what was available, at least in that sort of shape. And on hindsight, there's probably players that were in there that you maybe wouldn't have selected, but before kickoff, it was a team that I think all of us were in agreement. We were pleased to see, let's say it was probably the most front foot team wise he could have selected. I would suggest.
Right. And Liam, I think it's fair to say the rest of us were all drowning in the volume of team selections that Ewan was firing into the group chat every
It's
15
just any
seconds.
It's
But
an
usual
absolute
match
nonsense,
day.
by the way. I said like two.
Uh, Another 21 that you sent in. But anyway,
but were you surprised that after all that, David Gray managed to pick a team that was different from anything Ewan suggested?
to be honest, I was surprised that you actually picked a team out Junior Hoylett in it, which I think has caused quite a lot of controversy. You could come up with all those selections and not pick who's been the sort of standout player of the last few weeks. Certainly an interesting call, but no, I was happy, and I've remained quite happy with that front four. I think that's a more positive thing of signs to come. Positive sign of things to come, even if we can get that four in the team on a more regular basis. I think it'll just be I think it should be a much more enjoyable season, to be honest. Like even irrespective of like what results it breeds or doesn't. Like I just kind of I'm at the stage where I just want to get back to enjoying watching us play again. I don't mean any of like styles of player that I just want to go and watch players that I want to play football.
Yeah.
And Craig, talk to me. You don't have to just talk about the team, but the overall performance. Obviously, we shaped up in a way that, like on the front of it, felt like it was going to be different. Did you notice anything dramatically different from what we've seen in recent weeks?
Not really. Not in terms of the actual game. No, I wouldn't say there was too much dramatically different. I didn't think we were that great, to be honest, on the ball, with especially with those players in that team. I thought we might have been a bit better, but maybe as we're getting that lineup together and that front four together, we just kind of have to accept that we're going to be investing a wee bit of time in that, uh, and better performances will come with that one.
But let's talk to that a bit more. What do you think? Why were you underwhelmed? Is what can we do moving forward if we were to keep a relatively similar shape, to make that team tick better?
I just thought there was a wee bit of a lack of link between defence and attack and midfield. Like it just seemed to go from defence to attack, or the ball went from the back to the front very, very quickly in the form of a lot of chunt over the top long balls. And I think our midfield actually got that involved, to be honest. I thought Corn and Triantis. I think they're better players than they've been shown in the last couple of games. The pair of them. I thought the pair of them struggled, to be honest. But I think maybe if they're on song a wee bit more, that helps out. And we can kind of get the better players with the ball at their feet rather than having to run into things.
You and you seem to be nodding your head in agreement.
Yeah, no, I agree. We didn't do. It's a weird one, eh? Like we didn't do lots on the ball, but ultimately we created a handful of chances that we should have scored. We come away from the game thinking we should have scored multiple goals. Definitely at least one more. But we didn't do a lot with, or maybe we did do a lot with the ball when we had it. We just didn't have a lot of it. You know what I mean? Like, which is the exact opposite, really, Harry, of what we were saying last week. I think it was yourself that said it felt like Dundee United were happy to give us the ball and see what we could do to break them down. Well, it did feel to me that we were quite happy for Hearts to have it yesterday. I think Joel Sked maybe tweeted something out after the game showing that like the players that played the most passes were their like back four. Like I felt like whilst Hearts had a lot of the ball, it was in front of us, and I felt pretty comfortable throughout the game when they had the ball. I never felt like they were really cutting us open at any point. So whilst it was frustrating not to see us necessarily be on the front foot, I wasn't overly concerned about anything coming back towards us.
Listen, I'm just going to jump in on that and say that if that's going to be a trend of things to come, then if we start taking chances, like I'm not bothered with that. I'm happy if we're not going to see like 60% possession every game. Like I don't care if we're getting 40% possession and creating chances and scoring goals, then I wouldn't be bothered with that. Like I'd take that.
It's like the exact antithesis of
That's just,
Monty Ball, isn't it? Like Monty Ball was lots of possession, but don't really do anything with it. Like create very few chances. Whereas certainly the performance on Sunday in isolation is have little of the ball and create more chances. I noticed just on the basis of Sunday, we went from bottom of the league for chance creation to third bottom of the league for chance creation, just on the basis of one performance against Hearts, which I think kind of shows you that it's still very early in the season, so you probably shouldn't read too much into tables of any description at this stage in the season, but particularly chance creation tables, because I think it is still. He's all waiting for me to say sample size, eh? He's all waiting for me to say it. I'm not going to fucking say it. It's still very early in the season. I think the quality of chances is pleasing to see. We're getting guys who, to be honest, I think Dwight Gale 9 out of 10 times buries at least one of those two chances. I don't know what the XG on them was, but the one that we headed essentially straight at Gordon's forearm, I would imagine would be a very high XG opportunity. So we are creating chances, just maybe we're not doing it in the way that we were doing it previously, through sort of kind of scintillating free-flowing football. But I think as you get into sort of November, December, January, February, the pitches get really heavy. We're going up to a really heavy pitch on Wednesday. It's very difficult to play that kind of Monty Ball football in the winter months of the season. Actually, the style of football we're playing now under Gray, I think will be, frankly, because the ball spends a bit more time in the air, will be more conducive to get results at this time of season.
Yeah, I think we went up to Ross County under, was it Lee Johnson, when we had that spell of Ellie Youan playing down the middle, and did we win 1-0 or maybe 2-0? But
Harry McCurdy was getting rinsed that day. I remember that.
And Youan it was literally just the ball over the top. I think, or did Youan maybe like it was like break of the ball
Defender
and
missed
it.
it.
Just ran in. Like it isn't. You don't have to play 60 passes to score a goal. You know what I mean? You don't have to pass a team to death to score a goal. I mean, last season we literally were screaming that we need to shoot more. We need to get the ball in quicker. We were trying to pass teams to death. So there's probably a balance to everything. But ultimately, if you go back to looking at the game yesterday, Harry, we should have won the game based on chances. Obviously Hearts had more of the ball, but they had 2 shots on target. One of them was from the edge of the box, and the other one was the goal. Like we absolutely should have killed that game probably in the first half, or at least been a couple goals up at before they score. And again, similar to last week, if your goalkeeper doesn't make the mistakes he makes, if your strikers take the chances, then we're not talking about people complaining about style or what we've done on the ball. We're talking about a good win that can kickstart your season, and that's the frustrating thing again that our Achilles heel showed again.
Yeah, I was going to start by talking about the players, but we've started kind of talking about the what team we should be. So let's commit to that. And let's kind of go into David Gray a bit. Archie sent in where you at on David Gray. I think we've all kind of given our stance around that. So the question I've got for you is, does Sunday change anything in your guys' perception? For me personally, I said I wanted to see him go for it. I was like, I think we're underperforming. I want to see us put our best players on the pitch and hope for the best. I think Lee Johnson, a lot of the time struggled as Hibs managers to actually make the team look cohesive and do anything. But he put the best players out there, and that's how we ended up getting results under him. And on
Harry,
what do you call it?
I really
Yeah.
love whatever question you're going to ask, but can we just talk about so just to answer Liam's question, apparently Triantis had the highest XG of 0.4 other than the goal, but our former colleague and fellow podcaster who you bumped into yesterday has joined us in the YouTube comments. Greg, I thought we were a disgrace yesterday. Need to be so much more aggressive in all aspects of the game. I miss him so much.
Okay. And he's not wrong either, is he? Like, I think you might be echoing slightly. But yeah, no, for me, I think he's spot on there. I think there were so many times throughout the game I said to Craig and my dad, who I was sat next to, we're so crap. Like, we're really bad at football. And I appreciate the fact that we created chances. And a player who I want to come on to in a bit, Ellie Youan, when watching the highlights back, there was very few chances that didn't start with him doing something that ended up falling into a chance. Like, whether you like him or not, or you make up that he's not tracking back as much as other players. I think Ellie Youan had a decent enough game, especially in hindsight of watching highlights. But yeah, no, I don't think Greg's wrong in terms of being more aggressive. The thing I wanted to come on to that I think you were talking about it yesterday or last week, Craig, sorry, in terms of it's the want, like that's what aggression can be in football. It's kind of want to make things happen. And I think the set piece goal, like you had three players throw themselves at the ball last second, and that's how it ended up getting fumbled into the net. Like Ekpateta on the stretch, whoever nodded it across, and then obviously Big Mick was in the middle to stab it home. Was that aggressive enough for you, or is Greg more on the right lines?
No, obviously, anytime you score, you're going to say, yeah, it's brilliant. The thing is, right, you can tell the players want it when it's going well. Like they're all buzzing when we score, and you can tell like that their heart is definitely invested in it. And I'm sure they all want to be doing the right things and uh, and winning games and not conceding sloppy goals. But ultimately, I think maybe there's just a bit of a lack of desire and want to defend. I think that's probably more accurate. Our players just, I don't know if they've got the grit and the quality and the sort of focus when we're getting into the late parts of the game to defend and see out Leeds. Obviously, the goal that we concede it's just a nonsense, really, isn't it? It's an absolute nonsense.
Oh, Craig, just while you're speaking on that, BD in the YouTube channel, YouTube comments, sorry, has said, how are we losing these constant late goals? Is it poor management from the manager, or is it just the players simply switching off every game? We need to fix it as we're in serious relegation trouble if we don't.
I think there'll be a combination of everything, really. Actually, for me, like confidence plays such a massive part in football, and I think we look like a team that's severely lacking confidence and belief in our ability to see out a lead. And I actually put in the group chat today, and I know it sounds obvious to see out a lead, we need to see out a lead, but I think once we get one game that we can see out a shitty, like horrible 1-0 or one goal lead game.
Yep.
Once we see it one, I think that'll maybe breed a bit of confidence and we can do it a bit more often. But at the moment, we just look like a team who doesn't know how to win. We score to go ahead and we just suck right in and stop doing the things that you're doing that get you ahead.
So do you think like winning a game 1-0 might actually be more beneficial to this team's psyche than winning a game 4-1 or something?
Absolutely. Well, we beat St Johnstone 2-0 and it's done nothing for it. Well, it's got 3 points, but it's done nothing for us in terms of like our fragility. I think they need the moment of like maybe a goalie making a big save or a couple of big last man blocks and see out a game, and I think that'll just give them a bounce. That's what I hope anyway. That's the theory.
Yeah, no, sorry. David Gray, on him, Jim sent in a message and he said, pretty simple, Gray's got to go. He's not up to the job. This situation IMO will just get worse and worse. Why wait? So thanks, Jim, for that positivity. Another one, a talking point that came in was Craig Sampson acting like the gaffer. I don't know if you guys saw this,
I've
but
never
I've heard that the
noticed this.
goalkeeping coach was shouting at the players. Liam, what's going on there?
It's the other side of the stadium for me, so I don't really feel like I'm commenting on it. To be honest, I know it was a debate in a couple of group chats that were in last night. I didn't see it, so I don't really feel it's fair to comment on it without having seen the incident, to be honest, or whoever it was in question.
I do remember in the summer though, when the backroom staff was confirmed, they did make a point in saying that Samson was more than just a goalkeeper coach, like that he was a first team coach, you know, in the same sense that Eddie May was and Liam Craig was. So like I don't like. I know it sounds stupid, and you know you put two and two together because he was a goalkeeper, but maybe his role does exceed that, and if it is, then well, it is what it is.
He's definitely been one of the people who I think is under fire a wee bit, and there's been a lot of questions asked about the coaching team that David Gray's got supporting him in the last few weeks, just because results have been poor. And me and Craig, obviously, you know, his sort of prior experience was Queen's Park under 18s or something like that. You know, Craig Sampson was here before and was at Aberdeen last season. I don't think the Aberdeen fans were particularly happy with him. And Eddie May, who's been around for a long time and very much an experienced head, but you know, not been someone who's really been directly involved with the first team other than in a sort of caretaker capacity. So I think there's been a lot of eyes pointed or fingers pointed, I should say, at the sort of coaching team setup. So I think maybe it might be being unkind to whoever posted it, but maybe people are just looking for reasons to be even more unhappy with the coaching team that they're already quite unhappy with. That makes sense.
Yeah.
If he'd won the game, everybody would have loved it.
Aye. Like,
been saying, oh, look how good that is that he's out there screaming at it.
Yeah.
I know we all love to think that like it plays a massive part, like the coaching team that you got around them, but I think you kind of look at managers who've been the most successful in the game and you look at they're kind of successful almost irrespective of who's in their coaching team rather than because of who's in their coaching team.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's more about complementing the set of skills that you've got with other people rather than those people being such incredible individual contributors that you then all of a sudden become an overnight success. I mean, take the greatest manager of all time, Sir Alex Ferguson. He had, what, 5, 6 different assistants at Man United. His coaching team constantly changed and revolved. They got rid of people. He used ex-players, not ex-players, you know. So, I'm just a wee bit like, I don't know, Craig Sampson, do I really care?
Yeah, that's sort of
it.
Yeah,
thing like that. Can I really sweat it enough to care? I would hope that David Gray and Malky Mackay and everyone there is evaluating his performance and you know measuring what he's doing, and if he's doing a good job, keep him in role. If he's not doing a good job, then get someone else.
Yep. Hey, if it was, maybe we wouldn't have Ginger Hoylett though. If he was there, so.
That incredible scouting network that extends all the way to Aberdeen.
Back to the YouTube comments. Steve in 21010 said, my son attended the game when Hibs scored. I punched my fist in the air, so relieved that my son might see Hibs beat Hearts. Keep the faith, I suppose. So at least someone had a half good day. That's good to know.
It was a good moment, though, eh?
I was going to say, look, I know it gets taken, well, the moment doesn't get taken away from you, but you know, you don't get to then have the sort of the doubling down of it full time. But it was nice to actually, you know, celebrate something this season and really have a good time. You know, it has been a turgid start to the season. I know we've won games and stuff, but it genuinely just was nice. Do you know what I mean? Like, and to actually feel like you had hope. I said to you boys earlier today, like I thought we were going to see the game out. I genuinely did. I thought we were doing okay. I thought the subs were decent, and the hope was there. Obviously, the nervousness gets there as well. You know, like you could hear it, or the lack of noise in the stadium at one point. You know, the nerves were there for everyone, but to have that celebration and hope and optimism is really what you're trying to cling to and hope that we see more of it.
Right. On the same wavelength, Greg said, all game you should be doing all you can to defend, get yourself in the way of everything, especially in the final stages of the game. You should be defending for your life. Could feel the nervousness. And
sorry, Harry, are you going to say something?
No, you go.
I was just going to say, and this is, I mean, just to piggyback on what Greg's saying, that's the issue for me. You asked about, you know, Craig, the question about late goals. For me, it's just pure desire. Lewis Miller just has to want that ball more than he does. Lewis Miller should not be getting beat by a 17-year-old boy like that. with his physical attributes. In any stage of the game, to be honest, never mind in the 86 minutes, just pure desire. You got to want it more. And sometimes, when it's about defending your own box, I'll be honest, a lot of skill involved in that sometimes. Sometimes it's just about desire. It's just about knowing where to put your body. I don't really think there's an awful lot more to it than that sometimes. I know we like to sit on these podcasts and make talking points out of things, but sometimes it is just pure and simple. It's who wants it more. I think that occasioned the young boy, to be honest, taking the finish very well, but he
gets ahead of him.
Aye.
I think it's like the third or fourth time episode in a row where, and I mentioned it 3 weeks ago about desire and a will to throw yourself in where it hurts. Craig was on the same train last week. We're all on it this week. Liam, you're highlighting it again. It's really frustrating, and that's where for me it can't be a managerial thing. As you know, it's not. It is individual mistakes that lead to that, and or maybe I don't know. Can it? The one thing that I find bizarre, and I don't know if you guys have noticed it, is one of our two centre backs on all. I think not in any of the Dundee United goals, but the two long throws, the Motherwell goal and the Hearts goal yesterday. O'Hara just is just standing there. Do you know, like he's not influencing the play at all. He's in the 6 yard box. He's not like I'm not criticizing him, and that's what maybe that's where it's a coaching thing. That's what I mean. Like maybe that's a coaching thing where like you're putting him there, but like he's nowhere near close enough to influence the sort of first action. But then he's not in a place to pick up and it's just that's the one thing for me that when I look at the goals back, I'm like, that's weird to me. Like, why is our centre back not in a position to influence it?
But if he goes, this is the thing. I mean, it's a bit primary school football, going just attacking and trying to influence every single ball. I think you have to be aware of
it. It feels a bit of a consistent thing.
The first one or the second one. I don't know. I think you're looking for something that's not there. To be honest, I think that for me, I mean, the goalkeeper makes the mistake in the build up, and then Lewis Miller essentially just doesn't do a good enough job with his man. I just think it's that simple, unfortunately.
Can I just that was the point I was initially going to make, and I know we try not to finger point, but my finger is going to be pointing. I'm just doing it, but the thing is for me, doesn't
make it better when you say that at the start.
I don't care. Well, I'm doing it now anyway. I was on Craig and Youan's wavelength. I was not nervous at all going into the last 5 minutes, and then a very simple ball for the keeper to collect. He bobbled it. They got a corner, and I instantly said, "We're not winning this game." I actually thought in that moment that the team was going to collapse and we'd lose, and within the next 3 minutes we'd conceded. I know, like, I'm not blaming the whole thing on him, but in my head, I know it sounds stupid because there's in theory another 10 minutes to play. If he just collects that, wastes a minute of time, I think we go on to win the game. It is just like football, especially when it's that tense. Like, I just think massive moments of momentum swinging are so big. And that's the reason why fans are getting so annoyed at Bursic, because he just can't do one.
It's not unrealistic to say that. So, from the resulting corner, he sort of flaps at the ball but gets it out, and it goes to the long throw, and that's the throw in that they score from. So, like, it's not, and it is, and it's inexcusable to not hold that ball. You're on the deck with the ball basically in your hands.
Yeah, the major part of being a goalie, right, or one of the major parts of being a goalie. And now, while I don't necessarily agree with Harry in the sense that it's Bursic's fault that we concede, because we should defend that throw-in so much better than we do. That's like the whole, we were down to 10 men. It doesn't matter how many men you've got in the park. We should defend it better. However, such a part of being a goalie is, in moments like that, relieving pressure. Like taking the ball, sitting on it, letting your team get out of the park, coming out, making big collections. The opposite of that is what he's doing and is building pressure, putting pressure on us. Like that ball, if he takes that, everybody takes a breath. Yes, right, that's fine. We can relax for another minute, and then he maybe comes out and collects a corner a wee bit later on. But what he's doing at the moment, he is a bag of nerves, and I think that's feeding in to a lot of the other players in the team. And that's feeding into the stadium as well and the fans. And he looks like a goalie who just, like, he's so nervous that he doesn't know whether he needs to get involved, should I get involved? And then he comes out and he flaps at something, or he comes out and tries to punch at something instead of just catching it, and it's just making everybody nervous. Like,
I think he's a goal.
And everyone's over analysing every little thing that he does now as well. So he's nervous. We're all over analysing it. We've got PTSD from Hibs goalkeepers of the past. I was even analysing it to the point on during the game yesterday when I was watching how over the top some of the players were for congratulating him for doing really basic shit. Like, did you notice that yesterday? Like, just literally doing like, I think he tied his shoelaces at one point, and 4 players came up and gave him a pat in the back. Like, it was genuinely like.
I think he's a goalkeeper that wants to come for crosses. He is a proactive goalkeeper, if you like. Like Marciano was a great goalkeeper for us, but he very much, I'm here to save shots. Deal with the crosses yourselves. My kicking's shite, but I will pull you out the shit with some amazing saves. I think Bursic wants to come for crosses. He does it fairly regularly, but the confidence looks to be shot, and he does it with no real consistency. So, like, he'll get the odd thing on it here or there. Like, it's just, I think Craig's spot on it. Just breeds nervousness. It was I felt like with the what do you call it, the spill that he had, it was the second moment that really turned things. See, when Lewis Miller passed the ball straight out of the park when we were on the attack, and it was like, fuck. You could feel, just like wee things, you just feel it in a stadium, and the whole place kind of turns. It's like, shit. Like, if he's misplacing it was a 10-yard pass that he probably missed Boyle with by about 5 yards. Like, it wasn't even close, and it just, that for me, we get loads of questions about the manager and stuff. That's where it comes back to the players on the pitch. And I know the people could counteract that with saying, well, don't put the players on the pitch, but the two in question yesterday, they don't really have another option. I don't at this point in time, as far as I can see.
Aye. Last one on me for Bursic just now, and somewhat of a positive on him. It's a shame because if we'd won that game 1-0, his celebration for the goal would have been clipped and put on Twitter. Like, he was going mental. He was loving it. Like, he was giving it proper big licks to the crowd. Like, I was just celebrating. I saw him at the corner of my eye. I was like a pitch invader on, but not. He was going like doolally. I was like, fair play to the big man.
Same with Mariah Welsh as well. Mariah Welsh's celebration was class.
I'm saying they want
the whole celebration was class. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah, that's it.
You do you know when, like, you're going mental, but you catch just other bits in a stadium and that, like, it was great. There was a relief. There was, everything that football should be. In big moments was there, and it's just fucking shit that it then gets. Well, let's say there, it doesn't get taken away from you still, because you still live that moment, but to not then be able to double it down with the joy of 3 points and at the end of the game is just, it is genuinely really fucking just disheartening. That is the sort of stuff that would just make you sick and not want to go again. Like,
one word for it, bastards. Mike Hibs said, notice yesterday at corners and long throws, O'Hara is defending the front post and not one of their bigger threats, i.e. Shankland or centre backs. Don't know if that's wrong, but can say I've noticed it before. So maybe we're just we're either zonal marking or we're like hybrid, because I know sometimes people will be assigned. I don't think we're here to do tactical breakdowns, boys. No. But another player that was kind of talk of the town, I've seen it a lot on Twitter, but we had a few comments in on it. Jane Alexander said, fans need to stop complaining about Youan. He was not the problem yesterday. For me, he was better than Boyle. Mr. Janetta said, what do we do with Youan? A bit meh yesterday. Do we lack squad depth out to see games, i.e. not helped by injury to key personnel? So on those 2 points, though, Youan, I think yesterday, it took him 15 minutes to warm up. And I think as soon as he done something really flashy, which was skin 2 players and put it through to Gale, I'll need to see it back and if Gale had a big touch or not. But that's the thing. The crossing that Boyle was really close to in the first half, if he gets a good head on that, the one that like Boyle misses out, Gordon palms it away. There was a really nice one where Abita put him down the wing and he cut it back. It was a great ball across, but then one of their defenders got to it. That little mazy that he done where he laid off Gale took a donkey touch. There's 3 potential assists that Youan's had there and 3 really good chances, but nobody's given him credit for it. Pardon?
Was the cross no Jordan Abita that put it?
No. So I'm talking about a different one, not the one that Gale headed, the one that it was like a cross come shot, as they'll call it on the like live text. And
was that not what led to? Was that not? Oh, anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll start on Youan. I thought I sent a message to you guys. I thought the first 10, 15 minutes, he was horrendous.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that was an exaggeration. He wasn't involved. It was like, it was just sloppy. It was a really sloppy pass from him that led to the Triantes booking. It obviously never, it shouldn't have been a booking. But he just took a while to get in the game. That being said, by the time he left the game and got taken off, I wasn't going fucking hell. He's been absolutely shite today. He grew into the game and done okay. And like some of the takes that you see after the game on him, it is a bit OTT because you're spot on, highlight. Look, he will give the ball away, and if it doesn't always come off, it can look bad. But again, I don't think it was a lack of desire or anything. On a couple of occasions, he works back and wins the ball back and various things. I, it's just he's the boo boy when he's on the pitch now. He'll get the same things thrown at him. He doesn't try. He doesn't pass quick enough or whatever. But had Dwight Gale taken a better touch, which by the way it was a poor touch, he's in one-on-one. Like Youan's done really well. He's beat two or three of them. Like that's what you'll get with a player like that. But you're only going to see him get back to what he was 12 to 18 months ago by giving him minutes and getting him on the pitch. So I wouldn't be in a rush to drop him on the back of yesterday's performance.
It was just okay. I mean, just in the spirit of not saying anything that's already been said, he was just okay. And I think people maybe just need to reset the expectations of what they're going to see when they go and watch Youan play football. If you want to go and watch a guy who's going to press the right-sided defender every time he gets the ball and harry the opposition down and go slide into 50-50s and all that sort of stuff, and you're essentially going with the wrong mindset, watching a completely different player. He's not that kind of player, but he does give you a bit of magic on the ball, and I think we saw that maybe in a couple of glimpses yesterday. I don't think he was anywhere near what he can do, but I think yesterday was just further evidence that the guy needs minutes. Like players like him need match sharpness. You can't just bring players like him in from the cold and expect them to go straight from day one, which is what essentially we were asking them to do against Rangers and St Johnstone. And Mark Telfer's just got in the comments and said Youan needs minutes. I mean, if you're going to just boil down what I said, there it is. Youan needs minutes.
I think what Cian said above it is an interesting one. Is Boyle deserving of starting ahead of Rudy and Youan?
Yeah, not for me. But I wouldn't. Mark Boyle's been very, very poor.
I'd start Boyle and Youan every week.
Boyle was very poor yesterday.
I think it was a bit non-existent. I just think for the first time, Gray's been like, let's not attack down the right side because, like, Miller played yesterday out of necessity, in my opinion. I don't think if Cadden's fit, Miller starts that game. And I think that Hearts done their, like, they didn't do enough to exploit it.
If you hadn't turned in the performance Boyle did yesterday, people would be losing their shit even more than they already are.
I didn't think there was much in it between the two of them, but again, like it's in a game where I think you said it right as well, Liam, about the pressing and all that. But the instruction very clearly was to get back into a shape and let them knock about at the back. So you've got to also accept that it's not like we were playing this high pressing game and Youan wasn't taking part in it. But I didn't think either of them were bad. I thought they were both okay, like you say. But I would if we can play the same team on Wednesday night, I'd be inclined to do it. I know that's maybe skipping us ahead. I wouldn't be in a hurry to drop either of them. I know Cian says Rudy's not been in the best of form, and I think has rightly been in and out of the team. I wouldn't be in a mad rush to bring him back in at this point.
Bring back Harry McCurdy. Joking. But Billy made the point. I know that John Robertson kind of touched on it in the kind of fan culture around Easter Road of late. But Billy, King of the North on Twitter, said a lot of debate leading up to the game regarding fans negatively and how it impacts players. My question is, are fans justified by their feelings towards the club just now, or should supporters actually support the club and players regardless? Craig, I'll let you take the floor for that first.
Mate, I was at that interview because I listened to the clip. It was ringing around my head, to be honest. In the last 10 minutes, mind, I turned around to you at the game and was like, "We're dead quiet, and everybody's like, you can feel everybody's nervous." And I was, ironically, I remember right before the throw, and I'm like, "God, I like try to get everybody going." Nobody joined in, and then we conceded. So it's obviously not my fault. At least I tried. But no, I know what he means. But at the same time, it's like, I think in football, a team needs to do the job to get the fans involved, and I think you kind of almost need a team to prove you wrong a wee bit in that scenario, and I think it's difficult when as Hibs fans we have seen that so many times. It's inevitable that everybody gets nervous. It's absolutely inevitable.
And is it fair to say that both of Billy's points are right there? Like, yeah, you should just go in supporting the team, but also it is fair and valid due to like fucking scar tissue that we all got a bit nervous. You know what I mean? Like, I think both points can be right there. I didn't feel yesterday that anyone had like I didn't think like it got toxic or that before Hearts scored it in. You know what I mean? Like we were still
It just
there
went
was still
quiet.
a support, yeah, which is natural in the same sense that it's natural for a team to want to protect what they have. I think it's natural for a supporter who, in the 20th minute, is screaming and shouting for everything, and back in the team vocally or whatever, to then go fuck, like I'm shiting myself here. Let's just see this out. You know what I mean? Like,
Ken, what I felt like we're missing yesterday. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think like the points you are making are spot on. But Ryan Poches, he would absolutely just smash somebody, and the crowd would go mental.
and they get a free
Like,
kick and score for it.
no, but do you know what I mean? Like, we don't really have anybody in the team at the moment that's going to go and just kick someone or boot the ball away.
Mariah Welsh,
like,
he'd do that.
but
I'd back him to do that.
Joe Neal.
I just don't know if I could see them doing it and then like going to because Ryan Poches would do that and immediately up to the East going, come on. Like, I don't know if we've got any character because I think Craig's spot on. In the last 10 minutes of a derby, if you're 1-0 up, every single thing should be celebrated like a goal. If you put that ball into their half, brilliant. If you accidentally put the ball out for a corner, who cares? We'll defend it. Like, we should be behind them every time. But the last three set pieces leading up to the goal, we were all like, all right, I think it's inevitable. It's gone in. It's gone in.
But
So,
that comes from what happens on the pitch,
yeah,
Harry. Like, because like you're saying, like, see when you watch your goalkeeper make the mistake that he does to lead to that corner, you're not going to go fucking come on, Hibs, good defending. Like it's out for a corner. You're going, how the fuck have they got a corner? You know what I mean? Like, it is a bit. Ultimately, the atmosphere in the stadium does stem from what happens on the pitch. Out with the first maybe 15, 20 minutes, that then gets carried by what happens on the pitch. You know what I mean? Like, I find it very difficult when people want to like criticize other supporters and stuff like that. Like, my general thing is, yeah, when you go into these games, support the team, shout for everything, be overly biased in your view of every single thing that happens in the 90 minutes. But that being said, if the team on the pitch are retreating within themselves, that's natural that's going to happen in the stands as well.
But Liam, one thing I want to move on to, and I'm very excited to talk about because I've done some research today that somebody's going to disprove and show that I was wrong. But I think that we're turning a bit into set piece HSC. I believe since the start of the league season, including one League Cup game against Celtic, we've scored 10 goals and 7 of them have come from set pieces. You've identified at the start of the season that we've got quite a lot of big guys, and we're probably one of the taller teams in the league. Should we just completely lean into this and start playing for set pieces more? It's not something that it looks like we actively do, but should we try and exploit it more?
Play for set pieces.
Like
Is that
like
a
instead of getting the ball in the
genuine
box, hit the
football
byline and try and hit it off them and get a corner. I think you see teams like Livingston and St Johnstone do that all the time.
tactic? I'd rather not, to be honest. Like, but I don't really care. Is my honest thing. I don't really care how we score goals. Like, I just want us to put the ball in the net more often than we're doing. We've scored the joint least number of goals in the league so far this season, so I would just like us to score more goals. I think the whole set pieces versus open play thing's massively overplayed. I think goals are goals; they all count the same. Doesn't really matter how you get them. It's nice to see us score set pieces, but we should be because we're a big team. But that should also translate to us conceding from fewer set pieces, and at the moment it's not. So I would just like us to maybe defend them better and score more goals. Would be my honest ask. Like, if we were genuinely going to be a team that started playing for set pieces, I don't know if that's a valid sort of thing to do. Two, would I be bothered? Nah, probably not. I think if you put more attacking players in the team, who, like we saw on Saturday, Ellie Youan, Junior Hoylett, Martin Boyle, when you're sort of teeing behind the striker, I think we probably would get more free kicks, probably more penalties, because you're putting more dangerous players in those positions. With all due respect, fouling Chris Cadden when he's done running down the right-hand side is a much cheaper foul than flat foul than Youan when he's running down the left-hand side.
Yep.
Don't disagree with that. But we've covered most of the game, but we've not really touched on the fact it's 1-1 against a team that I think at the start, a comment I've seen quite often is I'm a bit frustrated, but before the game, I probably would have taken a point. Like I'm not saying that was my mindset, but I've seen a lot of Hibs fans say that. So, Craig, surely, if that's the case, then there must be some positives we can draw from this one.
No, there is definitely some positives. To be fair, I was probably in that camp. Like before the game, I would have taken a straw. But definitely, as it happens, obviously, no, you didn't take a draw at the end of the game. Positives, fuck. It's difficult.
I think the midfield too, whilst they didn't play well, particularly throughout the whole game, I think the midfield too, if you think about Triantis getting that booking so early in the game, which, as we spoke about, renders you pretty ineffective. I think they did well to compete under the circumstances. Sorry.
By the way, that is never a booking.
No,
Never
my
a
God.
booking.
It's also when you then look. Do we want to talk about the refereeing performance? Because I know.
I think I've just said, do you want to talk about
I think
positives?
Youan does.
And then we've turned it into the referee was shite. Youan, take it away, mate.
What is going on there, by the way?
It's just not a good ref. I've seen it so many times.
Do you know what does my dinger, right? See when you watch, let's say, an Old Firm game, and someone fucking smashes someone in 2 minutes into the game, and Andy Walker on Sky will turn around and go, "That's fucking great for the ref, no booking him there, letting the game breathe, understands it's a derby, blah blah blah." And it always annoys me because I think, but then the same tackle in the Hibs Motherwell game the day before would have been a booking, and there's no consistency in that there. So the ref decides to book Giannis 4 minutes into the game on the halfway line. Hearts are on an attack, but it's
Youan was running next to him.
it's a nothing attack, really, right? It's nothing mental, but he decides to book him. Okay, no problem at all. Quan gets kicked in the head. Oh, that's not a booking either. And then the same player brings Martin Boyle down 25 yards for Hearts' goal. Well, Hibs are on the attack. That's still not booking. So you're telling me that it's worse to foul someone on the halfway line, on the byline, than it is to foul someone 25 yards for goal. Because neither of them are cynical, bad, yellow card worthy challenges. They're both just disrupting the play. And that just went on and on and on throughout the game. Hearts didn't get a player booked until like the 60th minute or something. I think it was something stupid. And what fucking does my head in is we get the first yellow card every single week, it feels like. And it's
against us.
Always for this, but it's always for the same nothing shite. For a team that's so accused of being soft and this and that. And it is a lot of times stupid bookings, but Jesus Christ, and honestly, but throughout the game yesterday, the ref was he was incompetent. It was oh my God.
You know what one really annoyed me, and it annoyed me more having seen it back, but you know when they clear it off the line for Gale's shot and Hoylett and Oyugoki go side by side, Hoylett gets to the ball first, right? And Oyugoki takes a bad touch. Hoylett gets in front of him and he just clatters him in the back, and then they get the free kick. And
he does that though.
It relieves the pressure for them.
Have you seen
at a point where they were under quite a lot of pressure, and it just instant.
Do you know why he does that though? Because see, before the ball comes in and Gale has his chance, I don't know what happens, but the ref basically holds fucking Boateng back. Like I seen it at the time, like Boateng's trying to get to cross a Hibs, and he's literally like him and the ref sort of like he definitely holds him up somehow, and he's just seen that as the first time. Right, chance is over. If I blow my whistle here, this doesn't matter. There's no spotlight on me. You know, I didn't have to explain myself, nothing like that, and it's cowardly, Harry. That's what it is. It's cowardly refereeing.
I want to hear Harry's opinion on the Triantis yellow, because I believe at the game he had a wee bit of a different opinion to myself.
My instant reaction was, in my head, it's kind of similar to obviously the new one. He got booked because of the following, but it was kind of like a moment of panic, and he'd done something. Like for me, Triantis wasn't anywhere near the ball. Like I'm not saying I would have booked him. I'm saying I understand why it was a booking. Like Triantis wasn't going for the ball.
You said at the game you would have booked him.
Aye. All right, Craig, behave yourself.
Tell him, Craig. Think
But
about to dry.
the players got away from him, and Giannis just grabbed him, nowhere near the ball. It's not an attempt on the ball. He's just literally fouled the man.
Was it
But
not
do
slight
you not
tackle?
do you
Was
not
I can't.
regardless, do you not think in a derby, right? I know a lot of people are in favour of refereeing a game like you would every other game, but do you not think in a derby there is an argument there to be had that you've got to play a bit as a referee, he's got to play a wee bit of the occasion, ref a wee bit of the occasion, like and let a couple of things go at the start that maybe you wouldn't let go later on? Because for me, you do, because I think
Just
it's
let them same.
But the
Every
thing
game
I
should be
said as
roughly
well at the
same.
time is the other way around. My main justification was I would want that as a yellow card. Like if that had happened against him, I'd be screaming for it to be a yellow card.
And
So that
maybe
doesn't mean
maybe
it is a
Harry, me
yellow
too.
card,
But
but that's
Ken, what happened 2 minutes later? It fucking wasn't.
fair enough. One moment I thought was really funny was when one of
I
the
do have
Hearts players.
positives, by the way. Sorry, I just totally detoured
That's all
our
right, mate.
positives.
There was one point where a Hearts player accidentally brushed Miller and he jumped about 4 foot in the air and the referee gave Hibs a free kick. I was
that was a
ready to
shocker.
literally rip my own head off and throw it at Miller if that wasn't given as a free kick and Hearts were away on goal.
I didn't
Because
even know if
that's
it's a
what
foul.
coaches used to get away with all the time. And Miller's kind of adopted that role within the team, but it always gives me the fear when they do it too close to our own goal. So let's stop doing that. Aki said there were 3 different times Hoylett gave away a foul, and he just won the. Oh my god, the one! Oh my days! I've just remembered one in the. Was it what half was it? There was
Second
one.
half
It
in
was
front of
the
the
top
West Stand,
top left
definitely.
corner. Aye, like from the east, it was like the far left corner. And he literally just scooped the ball away, and then the referee gave a free kick, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I know, Aki, you fucking wound me up. He didn't need to say that. I'm actually annoyed right now. Jesus. But yeah, Ewan, right. You took us away from me trying to be positive and turned it into referees are shite. But take me back to some positivity for the weekend.
Lots of clear-cut chances. You're like Gale, 3 very clear-cut chances. Giannis has a great chance. The linesman did put his flag up, and then but they just played on, so technically it's not offside. But scored the goal, and then let's review it and see if he is, on onside or offside at that point. Like, so that's what. And then with the goal, so we score a goal, and there's 4 genuinely clear cut chances at the game. I thought it was definitely given Gale the benefit of the doubt probably on the first one, but seeing it back, the ball wasn't looping as much towards him as I thought it was, and he actually was missing the target anyway. Definitely should score. Actually, at the time, I thought he'd done everything right. I feel like, getting over it and finding the corner and whatnot, and just unlucky with the clearance. But 4 or 5 really good chances in the game, and which is something we've been lacking. This is going to sound so stupid with the goals we're conceding. I'm not worried with the centre backs. I'm worried about what's behind them and what's to the right of them. But the centre backs has a pair, I think, are doing okay. And I think hopefully that will improve. And Jordan Obita looked back to his best yesterday. I thought really, really good game. Lots of dangerous balls into the box. He might be a bit disappointed at the goal that Forrest got in front of him, but it wasn't really his man. But maybe he should maybe attack it a bit more and stop Forrest from getting in front of him. But yeah, there was definitely individual performances that, whilst the overall was a little bit turgid in terms of what we done or didn't do with the ball, there's definitely individuals that stood up and were counted for yesterday. And it's really disappointing that it wasn't the Dwight Gale derby as sort of you and Liam had convinced yourself was going to happen, unfortunately. On
I'll
another
just
day, it
touch on
definitely
that as
could have
well. A player that we've all highlighted the last couple of weeks, but I think he needs to be highlighted again is Ekpiteta. Like, I think he's been very, very good recently. Really solid. And I know, I can't remember who it was. Maybe my dad said to me that Mikey Stewart or something was saying, like, oh, he doesn't look confident. Sometimes Ekpiteta doesn't look conventional and doesn't look too confident on the ball. But do you know what? If you actually boil it down, barring his first couple of mistakes when he was kind of bedding in, like, he's been very, very solid, and he's not really made any mistakes. He kicked the ball out of the park once against Dundee United, and they used that as a stick to hit him with. But I think he's been solid, really good.
I'm getting really fucking pissed off with Mikey Stewart this season.
Aye.
Like, I doesn't annoy me too much normally. It doesn't rattle me as much as he seems to rattle others. But some of the shite he was coming out with during the summer, he kept on saying during the summer when he was doing the live comms of Premier Sports, Hibs are in a better place now because they've got good football people making good football decisions, which is essentially his way of saying that his mate Malcolm, as I'm now calling him, Malcolm Mackay, is sporting director. He then fucking fast forward a few weeks is going on about us being in crisis. He's talking about the two centre halves are terrible, the defence is terrible. Apparently he was calling Youan lazy yesterday. Am I right in saying
So
that?
on the radio, he basically highlighted saying that you can't, you'll never do anything with players like Miller and Youan and your
all
team.
right. Well, I mean,
Miller.
the Miller thing's maybe fair enough, right? But some of the stuff he's been coming out with this season is just absolute drivel. He's contradicting himself. What happened to the good football people making good football decisions? He was caning the two centre halves when actually, to be honest, the centre halves haven't really been the issue. I would say, certainly since the opening few games of the season. I know we've all got maybe still got some lingering doubts. It's more the goalkeeper at this issue. I just want to say that because he's really been fucking pissing me off, and I've been just loving it.
The whole narrative around the two sides, obviously ourselves and Hearts, is incredible. Now I know Hearts have obviously had a good win against St Mirren, and they backed that up in Europe. But that was a game yesterday where it's the bottom two in the league on the same points, and they've played a game more. However, if you were to, and I mean, anyone that watched the game would say that Hibs should have won the game on the balance of chances. You can talk about what Hearts did or didn't do with the ball until the cows come home, but they didn't create enough chances to justify winning the game. Yet you watch Sports Scene, I think it was Bartley and Stewart on that, or you listen to Sports Sound on the road, driving up the road, or you listen to Sky. I mean, we were in behind the goals, and I was saying to Craig, I was like, I think it was Craig or maybe you, Harry. There was no sound on the tellies in it, but you could see for the packages that Sky were putting together, like before the game, that it was like everything's doom and gloom at Hibs, but everything's great at Hearts. Like this whole narrative that's getting driven, it's still early in the season. And I mean, I said it to you before the game yesterday. If we'd taken, 6 points from Hearts and Ross County, there was a good chance we'd be sitting top six. And there's still a good chance that we could be pushing that mid-table to top six if we go and take 6 points for the other two games this week. Yeah, it's shit being bottom of the league. Yes, there is problems at the club, but this narrative that's getting driven across the media is, I think, a bit OTT.
I don't really agree with that necessarily. I think it's a lot of it's really driven by the supporters, to be honest. I think you win two games and everyone thinks everything's great. I think that's the fucking reality. We go and win these two games, the narrative flips. I'm sorry, but like it genuinely, it's as simple as they won their last two, so everything's rosy. But if you looked at the reporting of them, certainly after Naismith was sacked, I think, just because of what they'd achieved last season, I think the reporting around them is very negative. It's just as simple as that. They're just like us as fans. Everything just flips the minute you win a couple of games. We won't win the next two, everything will change.
I know, but that's the context that's lacking, and it's right, it's lacking across the Hibs support as well. But there's people that are ultimately paid to commentate and speak on Scottish football. Like, give the fucking context and the balance to it. You know what I mean? I think it's wrong that it does my head. Like, genuinely, you would have thought Hibs were 10 points clear at the bottom of the table compared to our opposition yesterday after the game. For the narrative that was getting driven, it was really annoying. I should never say that anymore.
Hey, well, is there any more in the game? Is there any big talking points that we've missed? Are we happy to look forward to the week ahead?
We were talking about individuals, and I'm just going to say Lewis Miller had an all-timer yesterday. End of story.
I was going to kind of mention him in the like. All right, we'll use that first of all. Miller, that is honestly one of the worst derby performances I've seen, and I always want the best for Hibs players, and I want people to bounce back. But he is on a generational run. Like, he is doing an all-time bad run of form. Like, he has been really poor. What you got? Speaking of which, Golf J Tweetler, hello, thank you for watching. You're always there when we're live. Said Miller needs dropped for Rocky if Cadden is out. Cannot defend. You can what?
That's bold.
I like it. I like it. You can what? It's Rocky Bashiri season, boys. I'm up for it. Get him at right back. See what happens.
This is the difficulty though, Harry. If Cadden's not fit for Wednesday night, and the fact he wasn't even on the bench at the weekend would make me think he's not. And we're saying that we'd like to see the front four stay on the pitch together. Day four can only be on the pitch if you've got a back four. So you're either playing Lewis Miller or playing someone out of position at right back.
I'd sooner put Gray in at right back than I would put Rocky in at right back, to be honest.
We have gone from having four fit and available right backs in the summer in the first team to being
None.
stuck with playing one that no one wants to play. And
Can I just say that my stupid Hibs things to happen this season was the fact that we would have 4 right backs under contract, and at one point we wouldn't have any of them available. Well, he might be available, but it's as good as.
It doesn't count.
this is the thing is there has to be as well in football, poor performances, there has to be consequences for it. And essentially it's getting away with poor performances because we don't have anyone else that's fit and available. I mean, I'm not going to advocate for Rocky at right back because I just don't think that's something any of us want to see. I genuinely, the only other option would be Josh Campbell, who has had a stint there if he was fit and available.
Mariah Welsh as well.
Particularly good there. Not about that.
Oh, did Mariah Welsh play right back?
No, he's definitely played twice at the Hibs at right back. I'm sure he has.
Nah, you just made that up, mate.
No, I think he has.
I'm sure he has.
I'm with Harry.
Cian, Cian's in the comment section. He'll ken us. Mariah Welsh played at right back. Let us know.
He came off the bench, moved there in a game or something.
Who was
it?
Right,
went and filled in for 5 minutes. Come on, lads. Didn't play
it was like half. It was like half a half.
Mind Josh Campbell away at Motherwell right back.
Oh Jesus!
That is reason enough to entirely avoid that. Let's not do that.
William Fish at right back.
No, I'm just not having it. I'd rather move to a back three than that. But at the same time, Boyle right wing back gives me the fucking fear as well.
Maybe Harry's way of getting Dylan Levitt in the team.
Dylan Levitt right back. Oh God, could you imagine the stress that I'd be under with you guys in the group chat? Let's no do that. Speaking of which, different plan. Let's move on from right back just for a second. We'll bring David Gray in and he can talk to us about right backs all day. But Keith Robertson said, do the chances Gale was involved with on Sunday justify him starting on Wednesday despite not converting them? And he says, who does Newell come in for? Do we keep this attack-minded setup against County? So there's 3 great questions there for Keith. Thank you, Keith. So first of all, Gale, I still remember. Cian, he's let me down. He doesn't remember Nathan Mariah Welsh at right back. That's not good, Cian. All right, you're in the bad books. But one time I was watching Match of the Day about 10 years ago, and or not probably longer than that, but 15 years ago, and Alan Shearer said, "I don't care if a striker isn't scoring as long as he's getting chances." And for me, the fact that Gale's actually getting shots on target, although he's probably should have scored at least one of them, at least he has had like 2 or 3 good chances, and the odds dictate eventually he will score. So for me, I would advocate for him to keep starting. I know Big Mick got his goal, but it was a goal line scramble that he kind of stabbed home. I don't think again he did anything effective in like an actual play. So let's go round robin here. Liam, coming to you first. Who would you start up top as a striker if we're going one top?
Dwight Gale, because I think you back him. I think you back him to take his chances more often than not. And I think if chances similar to that would fall to him on Wednesday night, I think he'd put at least one of them away.
Okay. And feel free to come back on the last question as well. But I'll come at you first on the who if he does come in, who does Joe Newell come in for?
Triantis for his pouring in, to be honest, after a poor game against Motherwell. But if he didn't come straight back in, I wouldn't be overly, like it's fine if the same team plays. But if it was someone and they had to come in, then it would be Triantis for me.
Okay. And Golf J Tweetler said, let's keep Gale in. And also, Craig, to yourself, let's just pretend that we've magically got a right back that can start, that isn't going to give us the fear from minute 1. Would you keep the same attacking mindset, i.e. would you try and put the 4 like attack-minded / creative players in that front 4 spot?
Yes. That's an easy answer, to be honest. I think you get these guys in the team as much as possible. Earlier, I'm going to keep going back to it, invest in minutes and guys like Youan. I don't think he was great at the weekend. I actually would say I thought he was poor, to be honest, over the piece. But I do agree with you guys in the sense that if Dwight Gale has a better first touch and finishes it, maybe the narrative is a lot different on Youan as a whole. But overall, I thought he was poor. But when Youan is on song, he is the best player in our team at the moment. So we need to keep playing him and putting minutes into him, give him minutes. So if I'm just saying, if Boyle, Youan, and Hoylett, you can get these guys playing, they're going to make chances for Dwight Gale. And you said the Alan Shearer thing. So say, do you know, mind when Doige first came in, right? And he was missing a barrel load of chances, and everybody hated him, and everybody thought he was shite. And I remember thinking to myself, well, do you know what? He's getting these chances, and these chances are so easy that he's going to start scoring them eventually. And it's the same with Dwight Gale. His chances haven't been that easy, to be fair. However, if a striker is getting chances and he's in the right places, keep playing him. He'll start scoring. Dwight Gale's an experienced striker. He will start putting some of these away. So, yeah, I'd play the same front four.
Hey. Aki said Gale on his own is fine if we're willing to keep the ball down and actually play. It won't work if we're pumping the ball long. It is kind of that awkward thing, Liam, where we we haven't really got the players to play it on the ground, but it's not working when we're going long in terms of getting the strikers active in the game.
But there's other options. It doesn't just need to be go long or go short. Like, there's if you play Youan and Boyle, you can put it into the channel. Youan and Boyle are both capable of coming short and picking it up as well. Gale can find ways to compete without necessarily winning the header as well. And if you've got a guy who's effective at mopping up the second balls, playing in the 10, then it is possible, even your 2-6s. So I don't think it's as binary as big man go long, short man go short. I think you need to be a bit more creative about how you play the game. I think keep on going with consequences for poor performances. And like Kukurevich did okay when he came on. Kuharevich, did okay when he came on, but I think he'd been poor for quite a few games in the run up to that. So I think it was right that Gale came in. I don't think Gale played badly enough to be dropped either. So it's about putting a form team together and to be honest, giving that front four a bit of time to gel, as well as, to Craig's point about investing in minutes for players. I'd be tempted just to lock in that four for the next 2 games, to be honest, and just let them run, see how it goes.
Don't mind
I agree. Yep, entirely. Also, I thought Gale, I know Aki's point there about it being, going on, but I thought Gale actually competed really well with the Hearts centre backs and stuff. Like, I didn't feel like he wasn't winning his fair share or holding the ball up or anything like that. I wouldn't have any concerns. I actually think if we were playing direct, I'd play Gale over Miko, to
It's
be
a
honest.
difficult ask for him, though, isn't it, to be
No, it is, but if
up in the air against centre-halves.
if that's the plan, and I would play Gale over Miko probably.
By the way, as well, one thing I noticed, what a fucking leap Junior Hoylett's got. I noticed
I
that
know.
a couple of times. He won a couple of headers. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, we didn't speak about Junior Hoyle, by the way. I thought he was brilliant. I thought his work rate in our own box as well was really good. I think he's on his way to becoming the most improved player this season, to be honest, boys.
We do just need to try and get the ball to him as much as possible. Really, just a really sensible, really smart. See, for everything that probably Lewis Miller lacks in football IQ, Junior Hoylett certainly makes up for.
Fuck it, you've convinced me.
Yeah.
Junior Hoylett's starting at right back. James Andy said, what about bringing Rory Whittaker back from Spartans? I don't believe he's currently getting a game for Spartans, so he's probably not getting a game.
Oh, you're allowed to do that anyway.
You can't do that.
It's out of the window, isn't
it? He needs to just stay where he is till January. I don't think that would be the answer anyway, to be honest.
If we were recalling anyone, I'd recall Megwa.
Hopefully Chris Cadden's fit at some point in the next couple of games, because I think it's just the easy one. We didn't talk about it because we just assume he's injured. Probably, I don't know what the prognosis was at the press conference today, but you'd imagine he'll probably miss the midweek game as well. But even Chris Cadden, I don't really fancy him at right back anymore, to be honest. It pains me to say, I don't really fancy him at right back. I think he's fine as a wing back in a 3-5-2. Defensively, is he good enough? Is he secure enough to play in this David Gray team? I'm not sure.
What do we always say, Harry? Never wrong, just early.
That's it, mate. That's it. You keep cooking, my friend. You keep cooking. I think the other big question that we've not answered.
You have bare-faced cheek saying that, given you didn't put Hoylett in your starting 11.
It's not my fault that you picked the wrong team of the however many that I sent into the chat.
It started changing the language of the team in that as well. It was getting really confusing, guys. You're lucky you're in that chat. But the other decision that we've not discussed, I think that Ewan's answer is going to be the same as last week. But there's talk. People keep asking, "Are we going to drop Barsic?" And the unanimous faith of not playing Jordan Smith just makes me assume that Jordan Smith is very, very bad. Like, in years gone by, normally the backup, like, I wouldn't have minded throwing them in there if needs must, but yeah. Floor's open if anybody wants to jump in.
Some coup for big David Marshall, to be fair, to convince Stockport County's second choice goalkeeper to come here. I mean, that must have been a real hard sell for him in his first sign as assistant technical performance manager, whatever his title is. I think it's really hard to judge a guy you've not seen play, to be fair, other than the Celtic game where he was poor, albeit didn't have much to do. I think you have to trust that there's a reason that David Gray's not changed goalkeepers yet. And that's either because he sees something in Bursick or he sees Smith and he thinks, holy fuck.
I think if you're going to make a change, this is the game. Like, and the reason I say this is it's probably going to be the lowest attended football game Hibs play this year from Hibs fans. And, if he was to come in and just be competent, but, or even if he was to make a bit of a mistake, it's probably the game where you get the least amount of criticism. Jake, and I know that sounds bizarre, but you don't remember as much of what you don't see. And I just think if there's a game to bring him in, I actually do think Ross County away on a fucking Wednesday night might actually be the game. And I am out on Bursick. Look, if Smith came in and was poor as well, to then turn back to Bursick would be even worse. So it probably is value in sticking by him, or at least it probably makes sense. But I don't know. Last week I felt it would be harsh, and going into a derby would maybe be the worst game to make the change. I kind of think this might be the best game to make the change.
Craig?
I knew this question was going to come up beforehand. I tried to think kind of what I would say, but I still don't know, to be honest. I think it's a difficult one. I just don't know. I'm going to abstain. I abstain on that one.
What was it Gary Neville said when it was Liverpool and Man City going for the title, like choosing who you want to sleep with your wife or something? Like, why does that feel like who do you want to start in goals for Hibs?
Yeah, no. I would still, as I said last week, I'd probably still be inclined to just keep him in. He's number one, rightly or wrongly, shit or not. I'd probably keep him in.
Do you remember Jojo Wallacott coming in against Ross County at home?
But I was at home. There was too many people
shipping 2 goals, but single-handedly. I know what you mean, and I'd get you. I'm if I change the goalkeeper. I just think it's very difficult to come back for that. And I always remember when Celtic were having that absolutely dreadful season under Neil Lennon during COVID, and he insisted on using like 4 different goalkeepers because none of them were any good. And he'd get maybe a performance out of one week, he'd stick with him, they'd have a howler the next week, so he'd change the goalkeeper. It's a wee bit like the Graham Smith goalkeeping school under Yogi Hughes. We just need to sign better goalkeepers.
Can we just?
I do like
Marciano up to signed are Wallacott, Jordan Smith, and Joseph Bursick is pretty depressing, to be honest.
I do like Ake thrown in there that Bursick has had more career league appearances at professional clubs than Jordan Smith has, and he's 5 years younger.
It actually surprises me there's only 5 years between them as well. I don't know if that means Smith's younger than what I thought he was, or if Bursick's older than what I thought he was.
I was convinced that Smith was about 32.
I genuinely thought Bursick was like 22 and Smith was like 31.
Clubs he's played for as well, but the majority of his appearances have been for Ilkeston and Nuneaton Town. I mean, Ilkeston. What the fuck is an Ilkeston?
I've never heard of Ilkeston.
Who was that boy who was signed in the Championship? Was it Jamie Insall? And he played for a bunch of...
played for Ilkeston, I think. At the start of his career. Nuneaton Town, not a football club.
That's like one of the ones you do like on Football Manager, eh? And you try to take them to the Champions League.
I'm going to Google it because I'm sure Nuneaton Town play in red and black. I'll Google that in my own time.
They're in the Southern League Premier Division Central.
That's like red and blue.
Just while we're going off on tangents, I think the point has just come in there from Jay Tweetler as well. A lone keeper in goals isn't ideal, but it is a bizarre situation to be in. Your number one is on loan. The other goalkeeper you signed on a 2-year deal appears to be someone that's just there as like break the glass in case of emergency. And it just goes back to what we were talking about last week. Stopgaps all over the fucking place and just punting the season down.
Aye. Or Max Boric's cousins, Arthur Boric's cousin, who we were led to believe was just the first cousin when he signed.
Yeah, what's your mate did? He can score goals at all. What's he up to?
No, just anybody but this lot.
If you want my hot take, I'm more confident for the game against Dundee United than I am against Ross County. I think it's a trickier game going up to Dingle.
That feels stone cold, Harry.
Well, one of them's
Hibs
like
fan more confident that we'll win at home than we will away. Woo!
against
All of
Ross
the
County,
front
who are shite,
pages!
versus Dundee United, who just papped us under sitting. Is it fifth in the league there? Fourth?
Fucking Sky
Oh, wow,
Sports
they
News
are
breaking
cooking,
news.
All right, fair enough. Well, Ewan's confident that we're going to win every game for the rest of the season and finish second. So I suppose Ewan can laugh at me for that, which is great. But in seriousness, unless there's massive drama that happens on Wednesday, we probably won't be back until next Monday. Liam, come to you first. What's the expectation? We're going to be sitting here next Monday. What are the vibes going to be?
Fuck it. 6 points, 2 wins, 4 goals scored, 1 conceded.
Who's scoring against us?
I'm not fucking telling you that.
I didn't mean
Hale,
player.
who
I meant
else?
for like a score prediction, you goober.
Ronan Hale probably will be the player that will score against us, in all honesty. I'll go 2-1 and 2-0.
Craig?
I actually think we're going to win both games as well. I don't know why.
I'm shocked.
I don't know what I've seen that makes me think we're going to win both games, but
Crystal meth.
Oh, Jesus. Ewan, I'd be shocked if I got a different answer to you.
We're contractually obliged to predict 2 Hibs wins, regardless of anything we say in the previous hour or 90 minutes or however long we've been recording. But look, there has been times where we've predicted wins and we genuinely don't think it, but I actually do feel semi-positive that we will get the results that we need out of these 2 games. And the next Monday we might have a different feeling even about yesterday's game, when you can look back and say 7 points in a week, season starts now, here we fucking go.
we're going to get to the end of the season with 5 games left. Be like,
We'll be
drop off in the league,
fine.
and Ewan's going to be like, here, if we win the next 5 games, we'll be all right.
Aye. Well,
Do you
I'm
know what
happy.
though? Because I think I'm just as entitled to say if we win 2 in a row, we'll be sound, as someone's allowed to say, aye, but if we lose them, it's a
What's more
fucking
likely?
guess. Shut up, Craig.
Well, my thing is, I've been kicking. I've been absolute panic merchant, but I don't know if it's just because of how nice it was to actually celebrate a meaningful goal and how that kind of G'd me up. So I'm happy to kick this can down the road until next Monday, and I'm hopeful that we get the 2 wins and we can be very happy. Whether that happens is still to be determined. But thank you, everybody, for joining us in the YouTube comments. Thank you for everyone that sent in your questions. And thank you for watching.